absolutely incredible. And when you talk about this Croatian team, the experience that they have in there, with Modric as well, surrounded by all the other players, it's a complete team effort. And we shouldn't even be surprised because 2018, didn't they get to 3 knockout extra time anyway? They know it, they like it, they can handle that pressure. But look, Brazil going out, who coming into the tournament, so many people, favourites, they were my favourites. I hold up my hands. I remember saying on the first game, yep, Brazil all the way to the final. But this is a World Cup that just keeps throwing up surprises and keeps giving and giving.
I mean, the question is, how can they look so good in one game, Brazil, and how poor and look poor at times in this one? But that's down to them. That's down to the Croatians.
Yeah, I mean, you are not as good as your opponents are. And I think Croatia today, they were resilient. They were always fighting back. I think second half was clearly going to Brazil. You know, they had 4, 5, 6 chances to score a goal. We thought it's all over with Neymar's beautiful goal. But they were just never giving up. And it's just fantastic that mentality that they have, the resilience that they have. And it shows off. It shows off that it's a small nation, but all their players play in the top leagues in Europe. Yeah. They're all top players.
We said that mental toughness before the game, didn't we? Like I said, played with the Croatian players, and it's that attitude never to give in. When Neymar scores that goal, you think it's all over. They was like, we'll fight to the end. And they got the goal, and they were absolutely brilliant. They changed up the way they played, pressed high, then dropped deep, and that togetherness got them through in the end.
Livakovic has had a sensational tournament. He was great again today. He set the tone for the shootout by saving the first one.
Oh, he really did. Throughout, when you think about the game as well, the big moments that he came up, made some crucial saves. And I think this carries on from the last game against Japan. They know the confidence, the ability that, okay, we're going through on penalties or we're at this stage again, but we believe we are going to progress.
It's heartbreak, isn't it, though? You see Marquinhos there. I thought it was a shoo-in to score. With his experience, the player he is, the way he's played in this tournament, I thought he would have the courage to put it in, but it wasn't meant to be, and I feel so sorry for that man Neymar. It wasn't his best game today, but he got his goal, but it wasn't enough.
It's always, we say it every time, that's always the danger, isn't it? If you save your main man to take the final penalty and that's what's happened.
Yeah, they're totally different approaches, obviously, for managers, you know, and recently over the last years, you always saw the best penalty taker take the first one, set the tone, you know, make sure, and don't keep him for the fifth, basically, because he might not get the chance to.
So when you set up, would your best penalty taker always take the number one?
For me, Neymar would have been the number one penalty taker. Just set the tone, make sure you're going to score the first one, calm everybody else down. The momentum shifted with Croatia's equalizer. Absolutely, 2 minutes before the end of the extra time. You know, what goes through your mind then if you're a Brazilian player? Then you suddenly get scared and you know the whole nation is expecting from you to go through to the semifinals. Oh my gosh, and then you start to panic a little bit in your mind and you're far more nervous then because you don't have any time anymore to kind of balance yourself out and relax a second.
Some real contrasting scenes down there at the moment. The kids of the Croatian players have been allowed onto the field, so they're all celebrating with their dads down there, and yet at the other end, the Brazilian fans have stayed. A lot of the Brazilian fans have stayed. Obviously, there are a lot leaving, as you saw there, but the ones behind the goal have stayed. And it's like they're in shock, Micah.
Disbelief.
And the players are standing in front of them in disbelief as well.
But they can't believe it because they were so close, but yet so far. And we all thought probably Brazil would see out the game. It wasn't meant to be. And it's like they can't believe because the fans here have been brilliant. But in fairness to the Croatia team,
many players upfield at the moment. That tackle is what I'm talking about. 20 years old, the tournament that he's had, that then gives the belief to Croatia to go, okay, we're going to go down the other end, build on this momentum. Modric right there showing some composure and then going on to score. Yeah,
but like you said there, you know, Brazil should be trying to hold on to what they have. Don't get caught upfield. Orsic comes on and it's a wonderful, like Chap has said before, first goal in 2 years. A little bit lucky with the deflection off Marquinhos, but fully deserved for taking that risk in the end. And Yeah, it was always. It's not nice to see the scenes, when you feel like you've let your team down at the end when you're so close from Brazil's point of view. But from Croatia's point of view, it was brilliant.
There were probably 6 Brazilians upfield when Guardiola won that tackle, which is also that balance between trying to get a second and kill it off and not leaving yourself.
Yeah, but I mean, we had that feeling throughout the entire 120 minutes that Brazil today didn't have the last piece of quality, the last piece of killing instinct to say we're gonna finish things off. We were all happy, obviously, after Neymar's game, saying, no, okay, they got the job done, but the job was never done. So they didn't have that quality today, and they probably will think about it so many times now over the next few years, saying, why didn't we score the second goal? We had enough chances, half chances or whatever. Why did we let them come back into this game? Why weren't we not attentive enough in the last 2 minutes not to let them run up the field again and create that chance? I mean, obviously now they are devastated. They are devastated. They don't comprehend what just happened.
And they go marching on, Micah.
Yeah, 4 million people, and Modric. We have to talk about him. When we thought Brazil was going to steal it, was going to be his last World Cup. I mean, some of the day, the effect that he had on the game in terms of controlling the tempo. We talked about before the game the tactical battle in that midfield. And what I was allowed, there was overrun in the midfield, and Modric just dictated at his pace, and Brazil didn't know what to do in the end.
Do you know who I want to talk about? The best player on the pitch was a right back. The game that he had, Juranovic, absolutely, through the 90 minutes. Up and down, his composure on the ball, just a right back that run the game for 90 minutes, I would say.
They are going to carry this, as you say, Jurgen, for a long time, aren't they?
It will sit with them deep, because they prepared for this since a couple of years. This is not only happening right now for Brazil. They went through a qualifying campaign, which is the most brutal one in South America, with 18 games to play, to qualify, and they carry that chip inside of them, for quite a long time now. They were hungry. They were full of energy. They really believed in themselves, but today there was a lack of quality.
Opens up the tournament, although you wouldn't want to face Croatia.
Oh gosh, you wouldn't, because the experience that they bring, we saw it in 2018 and we're seeing it again. That you can't write anyone off in this tournament. We've had so many shocks.
We certainly have. We were thinking it might be a Brazil-Argentina semi-final. It certainly isn't going to be a Brazil-Argentina semi-final. Thank you very much to Micah and to Jurgen and to Alex. What a shock we have seen here then. Croatia have knocked Brazil out. Next up, Argentina against the Netherlands. Gary will